find in this video, you're probably somebody who's aware of this threshold moment that we're all standing in. The closing out of the year of the snake and the dawning of the fire horse. And it's not just a change of calendar energy, it's a real step up in pace and change in the way that we move, a change in rhythm. And for many of us, it may be a change of identity as we release with the old year of the snake, those old identities that no longer serve us and are not who we authentically truly are. And the year of the snake has been a challenge in lots of ways, and it's led to deep inner transformation, the shedding of skins, the habits and the situations, old beliefs, old programs, old survival patterns, old roles that we identified as, old stories about who we thought we had to be, who we thought we were, who we wanted to be. And the snake sheds its skin slowly. It doesn't happen all at once. It slowly moves along the body of the snake. And that's the same that's happened to us. What's happening as we shed these layers is through the subtle realms of our inner selves, our intuition and our inner alchemy. And I myself, and maybe many of you have, experienced this year as being quite quiet, almost like a void space, but quite intense on the inside, lots of things happening and shifting and changing. You might have also noticed old wounds surfacing that you thought you'd healed, some relationships shifting dynamics or falling away completely. I know myself, I've had this feeling of having one step in one world and one step in another world. And there's also been quite deep questioning of purpose and direction. And not knowing who we are becoming, but knowing that we are becoming. It's been quite challenging in that sense. And it's invited us to face our shadows. All of the things that have been coming up to be really seen, heard, and allowed to be there, but also to be integrated and released on an energetic level. So it's been a lot of work. And transformation is something that can't be rushed. It's a sacred thing, it's private, and it's deeply personal to everybody, and everybody's journey is very different. And as this cycle comes to a close, we honour what's been shed. So maybe you can look back at your own life and just notice where you have let go of identities that no longer fit. And those identities might have got really uncomfortable before you decided to make a move and shift out of them. You might notice where patterns of fear had been in place and lots of self-protection or armouring up of the heart space. You might notice where karmic cycles have been completed. And just in the ways that we've outgrown our old lives. And it might not feel completely finished. I know it doesn't for me. I feel like there's a little flurry towards the finish line of it. And that's okay. It's just about being really easy with yourself, just being really honest and aware of what's happening for you. And this is learning patience. And just really taking a minute to notice in a video I did fairly recently about looking how far you've come. Where have you placed boundaries where you didn't have them before? Where have you got more self-respect than you didn't have before? That discernment that, I used to be somebody that just naturally trusted everybody, but now there's a slight discernment in my field as to knowing who I can fully trust and open up to and who maybe not so much. So this is just a message that you've really learned how to listen to yourself, and you've really moved a long way because you've been able to be honest, and because you've been able to do that, you're more aware and more embodied. And now we stand at the threshold, and on the world stage it's obvious that things are shifting quite fast already, and this energy is kind of moving in. And the snake guided us inward, and the horse calls us to jump on its back and move forward. And it's the symbol of freedom, vitality and movement. Much faster pace than the snake, and an outward expression. Because it's the energy of expression, it's the energy of courage, of momentum, and trusting that fire within your own heart. And this year is going to gently nudge us, and maybe not so gently nudge us, to embody what we've learnt. Not to stay in hermit mode and in that void space, but to start to live it, and live it confidently. And it's not that we're going to step out there and be this perfect version that's fully evolved, but we can just be authentic where we are. And the energy of this new year is asking us, where are we ready to move? What's calling us? Where are we ready to speak? I know for me, it's been a long time that I've been really wanting to post messages and teachings on YouTube, and I've held myself back from doing it. But where are you being called to speak your truth? Where are you ready to choose yourself? Where are you ready to run towards what feels alive? And we could look at this year as taking the reins of your own life and starting to guide it. So moving out of survival into sovereignty. And I always talk about this in my sessions in terms of energy, where we contract our energy, we pull our energy in, and we can see that with our posture and our body language. But if we expand it outwards, the posture changes and the energy expands outwards, and it's a much stronger presence. So from contraction to expression and expansion. And it might look like, for some, change in direction. Something's not working. Maybe it's time to change direction, start something new. It's definitely time to start sharing your gifts and talents. That is also, as well as the nervous system being regulated, the new currency in the world. And leaving and having the courage to leave now what no longer aligns. And definitely living with more truth and more presence, really being aware and sitting in the space of your I am presence. And in the collective, this is already happening. Truth is rising. The old structures and things that are so outdated and ready to crumble are now doing that, and those voices are becoming louder before things do finally fall. And that energy feels faster and quite chaotic, but actually it's not chaos. It's just consciousness, finding motion, finding balance. So it's not actually from snake to horse a sudden leap. It's like a crossing of a bridge, carrying forward everything that we've learnt, all of the wisdom, all of the healing, all of our compassion, our self-worth and our boundaries intact, and our inner truth. And I really do feel like we're all being invited to ride this horse with our heart-led purpose, even if we don't know where that is, but just trusting that we will be guided if we just follow those breadcrumbs. So as we start to enter this new cycle, I just invite you to gently reflect on, what have I shed this year? What skin no longer fits me? What old story am I now fully ready to release? Maybe that they could be 3 journaling prompts that you might find useful. And after those, maybe you can look at, where is my inner fire calling me to go? What feels most alive in me right now? What truth is already in me to be lived? And what would freedom look like for me now? Maybe they could be journaled on as well. You might get some intuitive downloads with those. And you don't need to know the whole journey. You're not going to know the whole journey, because it is a whole journey of surrender and trust as we take each footstep. We don't need certainty, but we do need to trust, and we do need to surrender and let go of resistance. One step, one breath, one choice aligned with your heart center at a time. So as we move from that inward introspection, void space of transformation, we're now stepping into expression, embodiment, and sovereignty. Remembering who we are and becoming that. So as this new cycle begins, ride with courage, with softness and wisdom, and most of all with deep compassion and love and trust in yourself. You're not starting from nowhere, from nothing, because you have such a wealth of wisdom behind you. And you're starting from that space where you're starting from everything that you've already become. And I just want to thank you for walking this path with me and honouring this sacred moment of transition. And as usual, I would absolutely love to hear your comments, your stories, anything you'd like to share. Thank you for listening.